I'm going to have to, as host, figure out how to do it.
Okay, let me get, who's on the call while we're doing this?
Jim, Dr. Rochelle, Dr. Lowe, Miss Allen, and Miss Dutu, D-U-T-H-U from my staff.
D-U-T-H-U.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, we are now recording and we are live.
Okay, this is a meeting of the Medical Psychology Advisory Committee. Today, September 26, 2020. I call this meeting to order. First item here is a review of the minutes. Glenn, can you, I'll turn it over to you.
Let's dispense with the reading of the minutes. We don't have those present at this time.
Okay. Do we need a vote on that?
No.
Okay. Old business.
There isn't.
No old business. New business. Susan, do you have any?
You have something you wanted to bring up under new business?
Ms. Allen?
Yes, hi. I have met some of you or spoken with some of you over the years. I know I attended one of your meetings years ago in Lafayette. But anyway, to introduce myself, I'm the Director of Research and Education at the board, and one of my duties is to create online board orientation and really, to a certain extent, jurisprudence courses that in many cases our licensees have to take and pass before they obtain their license. So I've probably worked with 6 or 7 different advisory committees over the years, and each one is slightly different in terms of how they choose to handle this. But the main thing is that I construct a course. Some of it is just designed to make licensees read rules that on them, and in some applicable as well. And then they have a brief, usually 10 question quiz to make sure that they have absorbed what we want them to learn about the rules and applicable laws. And I can do some of those questions kind of true, false, or what have you. But what I have been doing for years now is working with individual members of each advisory group to create some, this is the important part of that quiz, and that is scenario-based questions regarding scenarios that come up in the practice of your particular specialty, where someone either might be tempted to break the rules or might be unaware that doing certain things is in fact a violation of the rules. So I wanted to introduce myself to you, and Dr. Van and I were speaking about this, and to have you all decide who would like to work with me on developing some of these questions. I did send to Dr. Quillen the basic course that's up, and then I have a few questions, but they're not scenario based, because I really feel like you all are the experts in terms of things that occur during your practices, and you are the best people to help me write those questions. So usually I speak to different members of a committee. Sometimes it's just the chair and vice chair. Sometimes entire, different people on the committee submit questions. So, there's a slightly different process, but you get the idea. And, as soon as we have these questions and you all have vetted the course and the questions, then I can hand it over to IT and they can put this up. So I just want you to know where we are in the process. The other thing I want to mention is that for most of our practitioners where we have, have these courses, they are required to take the course, before they get licensure. But many of our advisory committees are now saying, we'd also like our practitioners to maybe take it every 5 years as a reminder or as part of their continuing education. And again, obviously operating within our broader rules, this is up to you in terms of what you feel is most appropriate. It varies slightly, but I did want to mention that to you because I am hearing that on an ongoing basis from certain advisory committees that I work with.
How many questions do you usually have?
Usually it's like 10.
Okay.
And what we try to do when possible, I should say, is we sometimes try and have several variations to the same issue so that the system can swap them out. And the other thing I should mention, I mean, obviously in life, as in everything else, if someone is bound and determined on a distance learning thing to cheat, they can, but we do our best to make it difficult because not just varying the question order, but we vary the answer order. And we try and make the, I'm still adjunct, but I'm an ex-Tulane School of Public Health professor. So my idea is you actually learn through taking the quiz. It's not just something there to torture you. So we really do try and make it, we try and make questions where there's more than one answer. And then we always give feedback. And you generally with a small quiz, you have to take, you have to get it perfectly to pass, but you get the feedback. You take the course once, you submit, and you see what the correct answer is that you got wrong and why, what rule it is, et cetera, what ruling it is, and so forth. And usually these courses also do have, it has the rules. We also usually include the ethics pages from whatever your professional organizations are. And we also have some what we call shared text that all of these courses have that either pertain to how the board functions, or sometimes we talk about impaired providers if it's a group that can prescribe, and so on and so forth. So, so not only do I work with the advisory committees on the actual quiz, but just in general on the course. And is there anything we've missed, or is there anything you'd like to interject? So, but usually for something like your rules, which are relatively small, it would be 10 questions.
10 questions.
With possible interchangeable ones for the same issue.
Would you like for us to begin putting together some scenarios and look at?
That would be fantastic.
Okay. All right. How many scenario type questions would you like?
Well, at the moment, I've made 2 or 3 questions that just are sort of your basic things that are not, but I would love to see, I'd love to have you all submit at least 10 now, different things, and we could work with it. And then let's say you all submit some things and we look at it together, or, several of us do, and we edit it. We could then also create, 2 or 3 options for, again, the same issue so that they could be swapped out so that no test is exactly identical.
Yes. Well, we'll start working on that.
Right.
Yeah, it might be helpful if you take 1 or 2 of your advisory committee members, not a quorum of them, because then we would have to have a public meeting. 1 or 2 people to work with Susie in the future quietly and behind the scenes. She can have Zoom meetings with y'all. We can set those up. But as long as we don't have a quorum, you can have these meetings. They won't be public meetings. You can design the question set, and then at the next formal meeting, you can present it, and the committee can approve it.
Thank you. That's great. Okay.
Right.
So do you have a projected deadline for completing the course date?
I don't, but I would be very happy to establish one with you all, because at this point, you all, in a sense, are the rate determining step, because I do not, although I'm certainly aware of your profession, I am not one of you. And that's why I defer to the committees to write those scenario-based questions, because you are the experts on what really happens out there. So, do we want to say, I would be happy to say, let's have a first draft of all the questions. Obviously, I would not want the questions themselves to be discussed in the public part of the meeting, because I wouldn't want that out there for obvious reasons. But do we want to say that by the next meeting? I mean, I don't know how frequently you all meet. The rules are different from every group.
We have to meet twice. Phil told us in the past that we had to meet twice a year.
Oh, well, I would.
At least twice a year, correct.
Well, I would certainly prefer that we don't wait potentially that long to do this. Now, Dr. Van, here's my question. In the past, when I have worked with advisory committees on these questions, we have been able to, discuss and edit the questions, not in the, not in a formal meeting. I don't know.
Because it's test, you can move that to executive session. and then you can discuss it in the formal meeting to have the final approval. That would be an executive session function that the law would allow you to do.
Mhm.
So it can be at a regular meeting or a specially scheduled meeting as long as we notice and call.
Okay. Well, obviously I defer to you all. You are very busy people. Times are particularly difficult with all of the COVID different arrangements and so forth with people's schedules being disrupted. I am at your service. How do you want to handle this? It seems like it wouldn't be that hard then to, I don't know, to work on, for me to work with several of you, just say two of you or what have you on some of these questions, and then call a shorter than usual meeting if you don't have a lot of other business to discuss, to, go into executive session, discuss it, get approval. That's, I defer to you, but I would not want to, I would really love to get this, not have to wait 6 months or something to get this done.
Would it be okay if we shoot for to have it completed by sometime early next year?
Sure.
Okay.
Or at least our end completed, then we defer to IT to sort of get it up. But when, we give the completed stuff to them and they take care of it.
Okay.
That would be excellent.
Warren, do you want to work on that?
Sure, I'll do it.
Okay, fantastic. Then I'll be in contact with the two of you just to set something up. And I believe I did send some sample scenario questions to you, Dr. Quillen, which you can share with Warren, so he sees sort of what we're getting at. These were samples from other advisory committees, but that way that'll give you a sense of what we're looking for.
Yeah, that'd be great.
If you could resend that.
Sure. I'll send it to both of you.
So a question, Susie, about the process. Someone takes the quiz exam and doesn't pass it. So what happens then? How many bites of the apple do they get?
They could have unlimited bites of the apple, but given that after they take the quiz, we look at the course, and there's a mechanism that forces you, by the way, to go through the entire course. We cannot decide whether you spend 3 seconds on a page or 3 minutes, but we do make you read everything, or at least open each page and so forth. But then you take the quiz, you submit, and you get feedback, again, not just on how many you got right or wrong, but you see every question. And there is usually feedback on the correct answers as well as the incorrect answers. So most people, get it right the second time because they see, oh, that's the error I made. And then they take it again. And every time they take the test, it shows up in a different order, different question order, different answer order. So it isn't like you can sort of do it and then mark something down and have it exactly in front of you. It doesn't work that way.
Okay, good.
Very good. Anything else, Dr. Allen?
No, I appreciate the time. I will get off now for you all to do the rest of your business. I appreciate the time, and I'll look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other new business? Hearing none, we need a vote to go into executive session. Is that correct?
We need a motion and a vote, correct?
Do I have a motion?
Move.
Warren's moved. Do I have a second?
All in favor?
Aye.
This is something that I should recuse myself. I'm turning off my camera, my mic, and I will be muting my sound until Jacinta calls me, and I'll be back on the meeting when Jacinta's called me after you finish this.
If you would like to, now, there's only one case that I think you would need or want
Whenever
to.
you get to that case, let me know and I'll get out.
I'll do it.
Hang on 1 second and let me turn off the feed because we're now going into executive session.